Let's start by you providing this background of the huge potential inherent in tourism and hospitality in Nigeria. What's your take on this?
Okay, thank you so much. Tourism is a very big industry. Just to say, hospitality is a very big industry, and there's no one who is seeking a career path in the tourism and hospitality industry that can actually be left disappointed. That is because I'm speaking from experience perspective. I have started my career in tourism and hospitality, and I studied the program as a post-degree program. And I must say, there is no time you seek let's say if you're looking for a job opportunity or whatever it is, or you want to go into entrepreneurship, there's a whole lot of potential, there's a whole lot of opportunities, there's a whole lot to achieve as an economy, as a nation, when tourism is being invested upon.
In the tourism and hospitality industry, what sectors have we been able to take advantage of?
Yeah, when it comes to the industry, tourism has been always a money-making sector. Tourism has always been a money-spinning sector. That is because when people travel or move to one place or the other, definitely they will need a shelter. And that's where you begin to see hospitality having a lot of occupancy and all of that. And that is when tourism and travels are being encouraged. So for us at Tourism Africania, we specialize on packaging both local and international tours. And then we look at also creating awareness about tourism and encouraging everyone in the society to ensure they partake in that aspect of realization. For those who are basically in the work environment, it is also important to find time to create a leisure moments together as a team and all of that. So we create, tours to package and curate packages that will also cut across any field, any aspect of life to ensure that people participate in tourism and see reasons to always have time to relax, that which leads to productivity and what have you.
All right, let's look at the hospitality sector in Nigeria. How will you assess the quality of service and what are the critical issues, combating with, offering quality service when it comes to the hospitality sector in Nigeria?
Okay, thank you so much. When it comes to quality, quality is dependent on individual establishments, and also this can as well be assessed by customers or guests themselves. No individual organization will be able to state categorically that their service is 100%, except those assessments are given through customer feedbacks or guest feedbacks. And to get this very correct is by ensuring that standards are set for each organization practicing in the hospitality industry. And this is to say that, for any organization who wants to ensure that standards are put together is to ensure that they follow up what some standard organization of Nigeria has been able to set up, and then having ISO certification standards and setting their own SOPs tailored towards these international standard organizations, criteria that have been put together. And in such a way, one can say quality assurance, quality standards can be achieved. And that is only gotten by service that are offered and experience and proper feedbacks gotten from customers themselves. And that's basically how we can attain quality service in Nigeria. And to tell you that most organizations in Nigeria are far from this, That's for some who are basically feels that hospitality service is just about revenues alone, and then forgetting the perspective of their customers or offering quality to customers. And that's, to me, I must say, Nigeria has a long way to go when it comes to this. Just only about chain hotels or chain brands that are offering service based on their linkage with international community that offers great standards to an extent. Of course, when they come to Nigeria, some of them reduce some of these standards. But of course, Sun and Sun and the government has a lot to do in regulating some of these services that are offered to Nigerians.
About a reduced standard, is it a function of people wanting to increase their profits or not knowing exactly what should be the ideal standard? Some people go to school to study hospitality management, and then they come out, work in one hospitality sector or the other. Some get on-the-job training. So how does this work with knowing the true standard or what you should do in the hospitality sector in terms of delivering quality service to your customers? So what informs the kind of standard? Is it about profit or knowledge?
Okay, I must say it all starts from knowledge. That's exactly what we do at Tourism Africa, promoting tourism and hospitality education in Africa. And to say this is that, of course, you can basically not practice what you don't know. So it has to start from creating the awareness and getting your staff to know what to do at every point in time. A lot of organizations have SOP, standard operating procedures, created for them probably by their consultants, who for once have never taken up a training to show their new or current employees what those standards is all about. Of course, for every aspect of the hospitality unit, there is an SOP that is meant to be created for this unit. For instance, if you're going to the restaurant, for instance, there is what we call sequence of service. Now, these are procedures, step-by-step, activities that are meant to be carried out by these staff, and we see these as SOPs. All right. So, if these employees are not being taken through training to know exactly what to do at every point in time in order to deliver quality service to the guest who steps into the restaurant, it becomes a very big gap. And that is where training comes in. That is where every organization in the hospitality sector must prioritize training at every point in time and making sure that the standards which are set are being followed by individual employees or individual member of the organization. And by so doing, the guests and the customers will become so much more satisfied, and they can even make references, and they can also do a repeat patronage to the hospitality establishment. Exactly, that's what is expected. So where the gap is on the knowledge, and of course, there should be a quality regulations to ensure proper inspections. When necessary, there should be renovations, and all of this, if they are being followed, of course, things will be achieved as it should.
Okay, for personnel or players in the hospitality industry, what kind of training, is essential or essential? We'll talk about trainings that are essential for that kind of person to be an efficient player in hospitality industry. I would like you to talk about some of these training programs, some of the skills that are necessary for an investor or a player or a personnel in that sector to be able to thrive.
Okay, thank you. There are lots of training programs that are very important for any practitioner in the hospitality industry. And I must say, the whole of this start from perhaps taking up a diploma in hospitality management or probably having a degree in hospitality management. And more so to those who are actually dispensing this service, customer service skill, it's very much essential. And understanding how much it is to render quality customer service, to guests is a very important skill that should be given to any member of the hospitality establishment. Of course, hospitality can never be separated from service, and that's exactly what it is. In hospitality, we offer tangible and intangible products and products and services, and these are the things that we are looking at here. So by the intangibility, we are looking at the services that are offered to guests who visit our establishment. And the most important thing we are offering is experience. So for us to create that experience, for us to create that remarkable memory, we need quality customer service skill. And this is exactly the training that is required to be, imparted in every practitioner. And then going further to this is understanding how much it is to manage costs and revenue. Of course, we know it is difficult to manage a hospitality establishment in Nigeria based on a lot of factors, that is affecting, environmental factors that are affecting the business in our current day operations. So having very good cost management or revenue management skill would be a very much effective one to be able to manage and also dispense quality customer service.
Okay, apart from the customer service, what else provides quality experience for the customer? Let's say the staff are very courteous, they know well how to deliver the service, but what else adds up to that quality experience?
Just like I said, the experience can never be complete when the establishment itself lacks quality maintenance. Quality maintenance in terms of structure and proper renovation strategies. One of those things we lack here in this part of the world is renovation strategy. Most hotels feel that renovation is about repainting the building. It is beyond just repainting buildings. All right. So when you create those, of course, in hotels, we refer hotels to be home away from home, or either better home away from home. Of course, some of the people who visit facilities actually have even a very better structure at home. So when they visit a hotel facility, they should expect beyond what they have at home, including the service that are rendered by the staff. So having a very good maintenance strategy and renovation strategy will enhance quality experience, enhance quality, quality service, and as much as creating other experiences within the hotel is another way of creating good experience for guests who visit us, and not just coming to lie on the bed or have experience to just have a shelter, but there should be activities around our facilities that can create better experiences for anyone who visits our hotels, hospitality outfits, and
I would like you to share your experience with us so that those who want to go into this business can have proper understanding and two-sides understanding of this business. I would like you to share with you your experience when it comes to how challenging it is to sustain quality service given the present economic reality, and then what an investor or a business owner needs to do around this time to ensure that you sustain quality service.
Okay, to be honest, it is not an easy task to manage a hotel outfit, or be it an establishment in the hospitality industry. You must be a very big risk taker when it comes to hospitality business. To be honest, here in Nigeria, it is difficult because we have a lot of environmental factors that are affecting the business big time. And that is, of course, the business must run on electricity 24/7, which is a very big challenge here in Nigeria. So for you to run a hospitality business, you must provide electricity for any guest to feel comfortable. And this is done whether you have a single occupant or you have you have a full occupant, you must have to provide light 24/7. And you know what that means. And for you to be successful here means you have to have a very good and strong marketing strategy that will help you stay afloat in ensuring that your occupancy rate or occupancy is on the high continuously without reduction. So when you are out of that strategy of marketing, then you're definitely going to be at loss. That's the biggest challenge in the hotel industry. For you to achieve that standard, providing constant electricity, and then you are running on a very low occupancy rate, then you are definitely going to be out of business in a short while. But if you ensure you put a whole lot of strategy, I think that's one of the bigger problems that most hotel establishments or most hotel owners have. They invest a lot of money in infrastructure, but don't budget for marketing. They don't put a lot of budget for marketing, just like other bigger businesses or other sectors in the economy, just like you see other manufacturing companies like Coca-Cola and the rest of them. Every moment you see them advertising, every single moment you see them promoting their product. But in the hotel, you begin to see that a lot of people or even their marketers have to struggle to be able to reach out to their potential customers or guests, and that's a bigger challenge. So if you're an investor in the hotel industry and you want to move your business forward, we encourage you to improve on your marketing budgets, and then that will bring about your continuous occupancy rate, and that's the only way to succeed. And then you begin to hear some persons looking at putting other strategies like maybe using a reduced system to impact on the cost reduction by providing maybe an alternative energy and all of that. That could be another way of reducing cost and then improving your revenue by bringing about alternative energy. And that's exactly what one can do to be able to stay afloat. But aside that, it's quite challenging.
Encompasses not just hotels, restaurant, bars, but also tourism services, which is where we started from. You talked about being able to organize tour travels for a lot of clients. What are some of the challenges in this kind of business?
Yeah, okay. So when it comes to tourism, it's what we sell basically is experience. And the only challenge there is, I must say, in the tourism business, the risk is not as much as it is in terms of that of hotel business. Now, this is because when it comes to tours, people are only getting ready to experience either other people's culture, or they're going for either visitations, or they're trying to, visit, to know exactly the way of life of other people. And in this regard, there's no so much risk associated to it, except when it comes to the travel or movement risk that every other person from any sector can experience. And that's where insurance and all of that comes in, before such kind of trip can be made. So when it comes to tourism on its own, for the business owner, there is no much risk except you being able to follow every legal practice to ensure that your business is guided, to ensure that the customer or the guest or the tourist understand exactly what he or she is embarking upon by signing relevant documents and by making sure that whatever you're presenting to the tourist is very clear and stated properly in your tour brochure, and every activity that is included in such tour being presented to this tourist to ensure that he or she gives consent to whatever he or she is embarking on. For instance, if someone is going to do a hiking tour, let's say hiking is taken up on, of course, on mountains and the rest of that. But there is some of kind of this accidental risks that is involved in hiking and all of that. So you must spell it out, let a person understand and gives consent to this activity that he or she is embarking upon. Should in case there's any accident, there is a legal coverage for your business and all of that. And this is what is important. And these are the risks one can, look at when it comes to the tour. So when you're taking people to a destination, there should be a proper understanding between both parties to ensure that he or she understands what he or she is embarking upon, and that's a better way to manage the business to ensure that every risk is being taken care of.
All right, for an investor who is thinking of, how to or where to invest, when it comes to hospitality and tourism in Nigeria, I would like you to talk to us. What should be of interest to the investor, the market trends, the niche or the sector you think this person should invest in order to get maximum gains from investment?
All right. Thank you for that question. I must say, the most important thing aside having passion, all right, for anything is making revenue and making sure you have return on your investment. And for me, I would advise whoever wants to go into the business of hospitality or tourism, there are lots of opportunities in them. So whether you're into hospitality or you're going into tourism specifically, of course, you definitely will make your return on investment. The whole of this only boils down to what exactly your business plan is thoroughly on, and what exactly are you looking at achieving. So if you're looking at tourism, of course, you can make a lot of money when you have a very good branding. Of course, bringing people for either from let's say diaspora, you have some leakage with international community, and you could bring people to come and see what's happening in Nigeria in terms of culture. You're going to be making a lot of a lot of money from such kind of business. Let's say we're having Calabar Carnival coming up very soon, and a lot of people are going to be participating or intending to participate from the international community, and you have a linkage to let people see what exactly happening in terms of Calabar Festival or Oshobo Festival. A lot of things, cultural assets we have that people want to experience, and you can be able to package people to come see some of these experiences. That's a whole lot of money. And for me, I think tourism is one way you can make your money silently without having a lot of risk involved in it. But when I say a lot of risk, I mean it's a service that, of course, all you need to do is to pay out suppliers, and then the rest of the money, it's going straight to your company. And that, to me, I think it's a little bit easier. And then going to hospitality, of course, it's a whole lot of money if you have a very good positioning. If your hotel is positioned in a very good location, and you are able to see that there's an attraction within that location that can bring about people visiting and having to lodge in your hotel. It also brings a lot of money, whether in the restaurant, casinos, or the rest. It's a whole lot of there's a lot of money in the hotel and tourism industry.
Let's come to the workforce now. So in the hospitality sector, what kinds of skills or expertise are in high demand to enable the organization or the establishment provide great experience to consumers or to customers?
Okay, I must tell you that just like a lot of things are changing in the whole of the world globally, the same thing is happening in the hospitality and tourism space. So individuals who are always putting themselves, in that state of learning new things and becoming more technological savvy, always on high demand. And of course, if you are a very good marketer, definitely no company jokes with a marketer. Here, we're talking about hospitality marketing, and you have very good influence to always bring about, guests to any hotel. Of course, no owner is going to joke with you. Of course, they could invest a lot of money on you in as much as you're bringing return on their investment. So being a good hospitality marketer goes a long way. I'm not talking about marketing by walking on the road and all of that. I'm talking about being technologically aware, and then you could use big data and the rest of that to bring about results in the hospitality business. Of course, you're definitely going to be a very big fish in the industry, in the hands of the owners or the investors. So building such kind of skill, building that hospitality skill is a very good one. And another one is hospitality accounting. Hospitality accounting, most people don't understand that hospitality on its own has a special area in terms of accounting. So when we were in school back then, we did accounting, hospitality accounting, cost and cost management, and the rest of that. So you begin to see people who studied accounting specifically, looking at coming into the hotel industry. You're definitely going to be totally confused from the beginning, except you're put through, because at that stage, you're not calculating just assets and liability just like that. You're going into understanding inventory and the rest of that. So it goes in detailing, it goes more detailing than what you do outside the hospitality industry. So anyone who understands hospitality accounting and can be able to manage costs for an owner is going to be someone that is going to be valued, in the sector, because of course the whole of the thing boils down in managing costs and increasing revenue. So if you can be able to create value within these areas of bringing results, definitely you're going to be valued. So if you're going into hospitality as a general manager or whatever it is, and then you have these relevant skills, no one is going to joke with it. That's exactly what it is. The same thing applicable in the travel and tourism industry. So once you can be able to, influence, market, and sell tour packages and all of that, no one is definitely going to joke with it. So these are important skills that are needed. These are important areas that are needed by this industry. So if one can be able to build a profile within it, definitely you're 100% going to be valued to you leave whatever organization is.
Flux of quacks, which is also not peculiar to hospitality, just like every other industry. You have quacks, people who are not trained, but because they have access or they have money, they tend to claim to be a player in that sector. How has been of challenge to people who are trained in this sector, and then how easy it is to have access to quality training, because you discover most of the practitioners, they get their training from informal sector, perhaps learning from one person or the other. You talk about acquiring diploma degree. Is that the basic for international standard?
Okay, thank you so much. I think this is a valid point. A lot of quacks out there, a lot of people who basically do not understand what should be the standard for the hospitality business. Of course, like you said, they have a lot of money and then they went into the business. And of course, sometimes they could even consult experts in this industry. But at the end of the day, they become the same persons making the whole of the decision. All right. So we have a lot of owners, even when you tell them this is exactly what you should do in order to, achieve a quality standard, they tell you no way. Of course, the money is coming from them, so you have nothing else to say but to play their tune. So at the end of the day, you begin to see the business going down just as a result of very poor quality service being rendered, as a result of some of the leakages that has been, incurred as a result of bad decisions and all of that. So that's a very big gap we have here in the hospitality business. There are a lot of people who want to go into the business but do not understand the basics. So there are a lot of institutions that are also offering, these trainings and all of that to ensure that people have what it is to run their businesses effectively. And in Nigeria, we have NIHATO, right? NIHATO is, Nigeria National Institute of Tourism and Hospitality Management, and they are basically into the training. They have the legislative right or legislative power to certify organizations, certify individuals who are practicing in the industry, just beyond you having your degrees, your certification, your schools, and all of that. So it is also good to go to some of these certifying institutions and have, some of these, trainings that will enhance you, that will help you become much better in your service delivery. And for owners as well, it is important for them to as well undergo some of this training in order to know what is the standard. And to say, some hotels, of course, have ISO certification, and you and I know that ISO does not limit its coverage to just other industry. It also comes to hospitality as well. So ISO is the international standard organization, so they can as well assess the quality of service that is being rendered within each business. So for any business that is looking at going international, going global, and having a global global practice, you must have ISO certification. And for you to have this, you must meet some certain criteria when it comes to health and safety, when it comes to star ratings, when it comes to quality service, and all of these are things that ISO would have to investigate to see how much you've been able to do this. And if you have not been able to make to that level, they will demand you to get to that level before you can be certified. So if we go by having ISO and SON, being able to monitor what is being delivered here in the country, I think we may have some time to get there. Of course, ISO will always come from time to time to audit the organization to know if they are actually practicing what has been stated for them on their SOPs and all of that. That is the way to go. And by so doing, the quality will continue that way. The certification will be demanded from time to time in order to continue in such kind of standard of business offering. So that's basically one way out of the whole of this.
Let's look at customer expectation. There are gradings of hotels. You have the 3-star, you have the 5-star hotel. What makes the difference? What should a customer expect? What kinds of service should a customer expect to get from a 3-star hotel and a 5-star hotel?
Okay. We basically sometimes see some of these in the little events that we attend, right? So you can't expect to have the same service when you buy a regular ticket and when you buy a very important person ticket, just like a VIP ticket or VVIP ticket. So usually it's not the same package. So when you go to a 3-star hotel, sometimes it depends on the criteria that is the particular part of the world has actually decided to use as the standard for their rating. Okay, so let's say a 5-star hotel in Nigeria may even be a 3-star hotel in Dubai. So it all depends on what the individual economy have decided to be their criteria, and those are some of the things. So when it comes to these differences, when you have a 3-star rating, you could have maybe the facilities are not so much, in that environment. Like it's not enormous. You don't have lots of facilities, so you may not be expecting so much. Maybe having a pool, maybe having a gym, having a huge number of rooms available, for you. So some of those are a limitation at the 3-star hotel. But when you're looking at the 5-star hotel, you're seeing some sort of luxury. You're seeing some of, a high number of room ranging from 500 and above and the rest of that. And of course, these are some of the things that are being, or maybe from 100 and above kind of rooms, and then you begin to look at that as a 5-star hotel.
I would like you to address the challenges that has to do with the issue of infrastructure and the impact of that on tourism and hospitality sector in Nigeria. I
must tell you, the tourism and hospitality industry can never do without infrastructure. And of course, there's what we call the 6 A's of tourism. when it comes to the 6 A's of tourism, one of the most important thing there is accessibility. Okay, so when it comes to accessibility, it is very key and germane when it comes to hospitality or tourism. So for people to get access to your facility, there has to be good roads, all right, good road network. And accessibility doesn't actually end at good road network. It also goes across by having safety, all right, safety as part of it. So if people cannot actually come to your facility because there are impending dangers, or let's talk about what we have in our current Nigerian, modern day Nigeria, where you have insecurity everywhere and people are afraid of traveling either by road and all of that. There are some experiences you want to have that basically flying on air is not even the best way of experiencing such kind of facility. So you just needed to go by road to be able to have a very good experience of the destination. So, but sometimes when you look at the safety aspect of it, some people will have to fly, and sometimes they may not even actually tend to travel at all, just because they're looking at insecurity. Of course, we're not going to say this is just Nigerian issue. Of course, there's insecurity everywhere, but the only thing we're looking at is just being able to manage these things. So in Nigeria, we are basically seeing these things happen. Of course, it's the same thing. It happens everywhere in every economy. There are insecurity, but it's being able to put on measures that can actually curtail these things. That's exactly what we're looking at in the industry. So the government can be able to provide, very good infrastructure, very good accessibility, privileges for the investors in this sector, then it becomes a very good business. All right. So, and looking at infrastructure, even the investors themselves, being able to bring about very good facility that will bring, that will look to be like an attraction to anyone who is visiting. Of course, in the tourism business or tourism psychology, there's what we call the push and pull factors. So people must have the pull and push factors to visit a certain destination or a certain attraction. So we must create infrastructures, or we must create facilities to have such kind of ideology around it. And that's the only way people can actually feel good visiting and patronizing the tourism and hospitality business. So that's basically what we have to say in terms of that.
With these challenges, how does technology come in to help? We understand that there is virtual reality now, and also augmented reality, and some of them are being used to provide tour experiences for people. So how does it help? You'd like to take some clients to, but because of poor infrastructure or security issues, having access to those places, you can't take them there. Is there a way technology bridges the gap or comes in to help?
I think I must thank you for that question, but the only thing is this: tourism basically should not be a technology thing, but of course, the world is advancing, so you can never leave technology out of it. And a lot of experiences that as well can be gotten via technology, but not in all totality. There are some experiences that necessarily you don't need to get such kind of experience via technology. One could create some touristic experiences via gaming, like people playing game, such kind of activity is a touristic experience, right? Gaming is technological, all right? It's part of tourism, it's an experience. So, but then when it comes to visiting a cultural destination, visiting a local environment or community, to have a hands-on experience on their cultural assets, on their cultural heritage and the rest of that. This is not something one could experience in full via technology. Of course, this can never be encouraged within technological visit. So I must tell you, technology is is impacting in a way in tourism, but is not in all totality, I must tell you. And that is where you see UNWTO, that is United Nations World Tourism Organization, is encouraging via SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, to encourage sustainability of some local community participation in tourism and the rest of that. So this participation cannot be gotten just via technology. Of course, technology can create, the platform to bring you the push and pull factor that I talked about in the other segment, to let you see reasons to visit these places by showcasing these things via technology. But getting to experiences in totality, you must have to visit these places. So technology is doing a lot of great work, but it can never take tourism out, tourism experiences. It can never take that physical experience, that touch out completely. That's one thing about that. So creating technological platforms to enable easy access and the rest of that could be another area that technology can help to ensure that people go to this destination safely. That's another technological investment that can be made to enhance tourism. But to do it in such a way to distance people from moving, then it's definitely destroying what we call tourism. But when it comes to tourism, people have to move from one place to the other. So within a particular period of time. So when people are not moving, then you don't see tourism in it. So if you're sitting in your house and you're just looking at me performing in your screen on your screen, and then you are not even having a direct touch, direct experience of what I'm doing, there is no tourism there. There's no tourism there. What we are having is just an imaginative travel, and that's in the mind, and that's really not what we are preaching when it comes to tourism.
All right. What are some of the basic amenities you would like the government to work on, or some infrastructural initiatives you think the government can embark on to boost, the business interest of hospitality and tourism in Nigeria?
Okay, I must say that the government right now, when it comes to tourism, has started well. And to start well here is creating a separate ministry. We currently have a separate tourism ministry. And if that ministry is supported effectively, it means they should be able to have a lot of goals and focus, all right, to achieve a better tourism or touristic happening in our country, Nigeria. So to get that done is by encouraging relevant infrastructures that will enhance that. That is creating very good network, like I earlier said, and of course, leading to some of these destinations and providing, security, providing actual security. We're not talking about what is happening currently, providing very good security where the citizens can actually trust that, yes, these people are here to protect us, not to brutalize us. So if we can get that assurance, that tourism can actually be enabled, and then creating a very good business environment. Business cannot flourish, or no one will want to invest into a business that at the end of the day, you're going to, the whole of the money you're making is going into taxation alone. In the business of hospitality, there are a lot of different taxes that are paid just beyond your normal income tax. There are other lot of different bills that are paid by the business, and in such a way is not helping the business. So there should be good policies that will enable the business of hospitality and tourism to flourish. And I think government should be able to make very good decision in enhancing very good policies that will enable businesses and investors in this regard. And by so doing, you have a lot of people coming into the industry to invest, to create these infrastructures. There are a lot of private owners who have a lot of money to invest, but because the government is not supporting the industry or creating very good business environment for them. Some of them get discouraged. So if the government can create a very perfect business environment, that will encourage the business of hospitality and tourism in Nigeria. And I think with the new entrant ministry, I think there should be a push in partnership with the private sector that will be headed by FTAN, that's Federation of Tourism Associations of Nigeria. So that will be able to do a whole lot of things. And then working with other relevant associations that knows a lot about professionalism, like Hartman, Hospitality and Tourism Management Association of Nigeria, which I'm also a member. I'm a professional member of Hartman. So that could also enable businesses flourish, and then the customer experience we are also putting as well get directly to what we're looking.
Let's pick it up from where you dropped off. Customer offerings. Are there initiatives to cater to a certain category of customers? This category I'm talking about, physically challenged persons. Are there offerings in tourism sector that's targeted at them, providing tourism experience for them?
Okay. When it comes to the disabled, of course, if we're looking at, let's say, from the aviation sector, because if you fly in an airline, you discover that before you get to make a request for a seat and all of that, your agent must require to know exactly who is boarding the plane, and of course, a special request will be made to the airline to provide facilities that will enable the disabled, or if it's a child, facilities that will also enable comfortability, when it comes to hospitable attending to such kind of individual. So, of course, in the tourism business, most standard businesses have, provision for the disabled who are patronizing their businesses, of course. But a lot of people do not see that as important. But I think it's another area that investors and those practitioners in the tourism industry have to begin to think about, to ensure that everyone is being carried along, and all inclusive, packages and all of that that could enable everyone, despite where you are, your personality or whatever, to participate and have experience within the tourism industry. That's all we have to say for now, but I think most organizations are also considering material.
While you were talking, you made reference to them as disabled, but you understand that globally it is recognized that there is ability in disability, and so they're often referred to as physically challenged and not disabled, right?
Thank you.
All right. Okay, Mike gets the message. So thank you very much for shedding light on that, because I know that they too want that experience, places some have read about, maybe seen in books, in the schools, in movies. They too want to get to those places and have that kind of experience. All right, Femi.
All right, let's look at this infrastructural deficit or lack of maintenance when it comes to government-owned, tourist centers. You have monuments, Nigeria is blessed with all these, especially the ones that are owned by the government. You have Ikogosi, Warm Spring, you have the game reserves and all that. Let's talk about the infrastructural deficit when it comes to managing, the quality of these parks. What's your reaction to this, and what should be done to ensure that maximum profit and the maintenance are properly done to some of these monuments?
Okay, I wouldn't say I'm here to market Ikogosi, but I must tell you that Ikogosi of before has been improved a little bit. I think they have the new destination managers that are taking care of these destinations. And so I think that area is being handled, but I feel a lot has to be done. So this still boils down to uh, investors and the government. So if proper infrastructure or proper, support are being provided, I believe these businesses will definitely flourish. I actually going to make reference to Lekki Conservation Center. Um, I visited this center for some time ago, right? And then visiting recently, I discovered a lot of things has changed, and I must encourage the work they are doing. Of course, they go on to always maintain this facility because it has a lot to do with risk. Of course, climbing the longest canopy walk can be so risky, but to see that they maintain it continuously and creating a lot of attraction within that destination, it's an encouraging thing, for those kind of tourism or touristic experience. So I feel getting to have infrastructures put in place at destinations is something that is possible, but then the business must have a very good stage to play out what they know how to play out, and that's by government creating an enabling environment. The whole of these things boil down to an enabling environment and having good and experienced destination managers. Of course, those who are trained and have the quality training that can actually know what the standards are. And with that, we can actually have the results we're looking for. And that's basically what we have to encourage in the country. Quality training and ability to execute what we know. That's exactly what should be put in place.
What would maintaining historic monuments and tall sites entail? Because sometimes it seems like in trying to improve the place or maintain it, it is changed from its original state. So what would it entail to ensure that while you're maintaining, you do not alter the originality of the place or of the site?
Okay, that's a very valid question. But to this effect, most cases, that's why you see I mentioned about UNWTO promoting sustainability and the rest of all of that. So to be able to sustain a historical site, of course, you're not going to make so. Of course, the more years are passing by, a lot of things are actually deteriorating and all of that. So to be able to ensure that these things pass the same story the way they are, is to ensure that they are properly secured and ensure there is no impeding danger that can actually have so much effect to some of these things that cannot be repeated as man-made but natural. So it's to ensure that these historical sites are well protected, preserved, and ensure there is no impending danger that can destroy them from their originality. So some of this is having to understand or have a sustainable plan that can actually protect some or preserve these sites, of course. So if they are being put in place and implemented, then it can actually be secured. Then when it comes to maintaining them, it's really not on the monument itself, but the environment itself. Trying to ensure that some of these things that has to do with bringing more attractions or making sure that people don't just come to such kind of historical site and then just see the monument and that's all, but bringing about activities around it that can make people have, experiences beyond just what the site is offering. That's exactly what we're talking about in terms of bringing about, maintenance and all that. But creating or impacting on the originality of a historical monument, I must say it's not the ideal, but of course, protecting and preserving them is what sustainability is all about.
Now let's look at the plight of business owners like you who, as a result of infrastructural deficit, will have to make provisions for themselves, like constructing roads, providing their own electricity in order to stay in business. How is this impacting on the cost of doing business in Nigeria? Share your experience with us.
Okay, like I said, it's a very big challenge. It's a very big challenge. I personally have managed a lot of hotels. I've managed hotels, and I must tell you, it is not an easy thing to keep, investing on diesel and all of that, and then a lot of times you begin to see the government still coming to give you a whole large amount of bill from electricity when you're not even seeing the light to even start with. So it's really not encouraging businesses. It's not really encouraging businesses, I must say. And it's something that the government have to do something about it. A lot of people run out of business as a result of high costs. A lot of businesses run into, uh, you know, into debt just because they cannot be able to cope with the running cost of operations and the rest of that. And that is why I said for any business to have such kind of stability, you must have to do well to improve on marketing. And of course, marketing is also you have to invest in it. It's money. So the government really needs to bring about a lot of grants that can support businesses. So for business owners, it is not easy. It is not easy to, trying to put up all of these costs together and trying to still bring about a standard or quality standard. So if there is a lot of help from the government in terms of balancing the needful, the government bringing about the ones they can bring, then owners can focus on delivering quality. Owners can focus on delivering quality service and all of that. But here in Nigeria, it's a different ballgame. You just have to do everything yourself. You just have to provide water. You have to provide electricity yourself. You have to, provide the customer service again and all of that. So it becomes so challenging. It becomes so worrisome to business owners and investors, even when it comes to, employees. At the end of the day, employees as well suffer as a result of this because owners, after spending and making a lot of expenses, it becomes terrible to even pay salaries. So you begin to see some hospitality workers telling you that they've worked for like a month and they don't get their money as of when due. It's because the owners are struggling. All right, they're struggling to even get to pay out debts, and they're not even meeting their turnover point and all of that, break even point and all of that. So you see that it's a lot of challenge. And if the government can enable this, help the owners in this area, then the business can flourish better. It can become an attractive place to be. Of course, hospitality business is very interesting. Tourism business is very interesting. But then to make it more interesting is to have an enabling environment. And that's exactly what we are all preaching. And we hope that the new government can help us in any way it can.
As someone who has managed lots of hotels, so let me ask you, when you go to some hotels, particularly the five-star hotels, culinary experience is one thing that customers are hoping to get from such places. You find lots of foreign chefs. So is it about the quality of service or it has to do with reputation?
Okay, yeah, you cannot live out reputation as well as quality of service. Of course, like I said before, some of these hotels you see as or referred to as five stars in Nigeria, they are mostly chain or franchised hotel brands. And of course, they have a reputation internationally and they must have to protect it. And if you're franchised, it means you have to uh, the delivery has to be at the same as it is over there. So they're giving you their license to operate as they are the ones. So if you're operating, you must deliver based on their reputation, right? So by the reputation, it is key and they meant to the licensee So basically, you have to deliver the quality service based on that. So if you're not meeting up with that target, your license will be taken away from you. So it's about reputation as well. Then having to have quality delivery is also important. So of course, like you mentioned, the cuisines are important. It has to be detailed. The health, hygiene, the healthiness of whatever that is being presented, the cleanliness and all of that must be as same as it is globally wherever those brands exist.